It's your girl, Lady Mocha. And you know I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth, and I'm going to always break you off with a slice of knowledge. What's up, everybody? What's good? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, here representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Big ups to all of my subscribers. I want to thank all of you who have been so supportive of me. I got to give a big ups to all of the men who have been rocking with your girl, supporting my channel, respecting my craft and what I do. I appreciate you guys so much. Big ups to all of my ladies who has also been so true and dedicated to my channel. I know I can go in pretty harsh sometimes on my sisters, but I'm glad that for the most part, a lot of y'all know that it is coming from a good place. And I appreciate the guys who are also, like I said, really enjoying the content that I produce, because it's really to build all of us, man and women. This is a very non-biased channel. You don't have many channels that's going to rep hard for the men and for the ladies. It's always either or. Some channels are strictly all for men and totally bash women, or they're all for women and totally bash men. This is one of your most non-biased channels here on YouTube. So I want to give a big ups to everybody who has been supporting your girl. Now that we are past all of that, I thought it was imperative, y'all, that I actually did a series on this. I am going to do a 3-part series on this content. And this particular content, this recipe that I'm going to be serving you is called No Respect for Sex. That is the name of this content. That is the recipe that I'm going to be serving on a platter. I felt that it was necessary to do this content because a lot of us are still not understanding what sex is designed for. A lot of us are still in the smoke clouds of what God designed sex for, what it was originated for. And I'm basically going to break down all the dynamics of that. And the reason I felt this content needed to be presented is because a lot of the problems that we have in this world today, a lot of it stems from, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that people just do not have any respect for sex. The respect for sex is gone. People are laying with anybody. Everybody's sleeping with everybody. People are not using protection. People still don't fear AIDS. They don't fear sexually transmitted diseases. You have a lot of people fornicating. You have people committing adultery. It's a lot of problems that derive from people that have no respect for sex. If sex is not respected the way God has designed it from the beginning, then guess what, y'all? We're going to continue to keep having the problems that we have, okay? And that's why I'm doing this content. I know you probably hear about this all the time. There's been many bloggers that touch this issue, but I'm going to really go and do some deep surgery because, again, people need to be aware of how severe the consequences are when we don't have any respect for sex. As much as we have been educated about the consequences of unprotected sex, many of people are still not taking the proper precautions to avoid these consequences. As I stated, a lot of the reason why a lot of us are in the situation we in because we have no respect for sex, we don't value sex, and we don't understand the gift of what sex is supposed to be designed for. Uh, Basically, because we don't respect sex, this is the reason why we have so much chaos in our lives. A lot of us are in situations where we have children from people, who really don't love us, who really don't respect us, or you may be in a situation, you may have been in a situation where you got sexually involved with the wrong person, and it caused you to catch a sexually transmitted disease. It's been in some cases that some people have died or gotten killed or murdered, playing with people's emotional feelings, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that they were sexually involved. So sex is a very dangerous act that a lot of people take for granted. It's something that we don't really take the proper precautions of. We really don't take it seriously. Sex has become something to do. Sex is like washing dishes. People just do it because they can. You know what I mean? And there's no real respect for sex. There's no real value. And again, as I stated, I'm going to go into the dynamics of that. When we don't respect sex and we don't respect what it represents, and we have learned to utilize sex to our own benefit versus utilizing it as the way God has designed from the beginning, then guess what? We're going to continue to have the problems that we are having, and that's just the bottom line. We all know that unprotected sex leads to three things. Unprotected sex, ladies and gentlemen, leads to STDs, drama, and unplanned pregnancies. There's nothing technical to this. There's nothing scientific about this. It is plain and simple. When we do not use protection, you're going to either put yourself in a position where you're going to catch a sexually transmitted disease or AIDS. You're going to get caught up in some drama or unplanned pregnancies. Now let's talk about these STDs. Let's talk about this. Now you would think by now, being that we have been aware of the cause of AIDS since the 80s, it has been made aware for centuries now that AIDS is real, that sexually transmitted diseases are real. And the bad part about it is you have grown ass men and grown ass women who still don't damn get it. They will still raw dog each other and wonder why, you got to take all of these pills. You got to take 30, 40 different pills every day for the rest of your life. And it's still no guarantees that you're going to survive it, because once that disease enters your body, it's unstoppable. It spreads like cancer. And as a matter of fact, it's worse than cancer, because cancer is something that people cannot avoid. STDs and AIDS is something that can be avoided. But what has happened is that a lot of people have allowed their lust to overrule their common sense. You have some men, I'll start with my guys. You have some men that are so anxious at the opportunity of getting some boonie. They're so, as soon as a woman, she doesn't even have to be a beautiful woman or a woman who respects herself. As long as she's a woman that is willing to deliver, you know, sex on a platter, as long as she's willing to put it out there, that man would not give it a second thought. It's not, and I will admit, a lot of brothers are getting more wiser to the game. It's not men are not as gullible to they're not falling into the trap of that thought pocket like they used to be, because men are catching on that these females out here that are giving it away like free bean pies at a Muslim convention. A lot of these guys are figuring out now, for this broad is giving it to me too easy, something is up. She's trying to get me caught up. She's trying to trap me. So I will commend you guys. Y'all are being a little bit more stingy with the penis, and I will commend you of that, because a lot of male bloggers out here that are schooling the brothers and letting them know, hey, you got to protect your man down there. So big ups to all of the male bloggers who are schooling these brothers and letting them know that, hey, you know what I mean, you as a man, you got to take accountability, and you got to cover yourself, because you have a lot of thought targets that are willing to give up the thought pocket without a problem. And if a woman is that easy, you got to always second guess yourself. Anybody knows anything that's too good to be true usually is. A woman don't have a problem with you laying her daily, and you don't have to do nothing to give it anything. Come on, it's nothing but it's a setup, because eventually she wants you to get so comfortable with laying her to where one of these days she's going to catch you off guard. You know what I mean? So you have to be very careful. As I was stating with STDs, it is real. A lot of people have this attitude where it may have happened to them, but it won't happen to me. You have a lot of people that are so ignorant and so damn egotistical to the game, not understanding that you are not exempt from catching the Ninja Turtles. You're not exempt from catching that ninja. That's what we call it in the South, y'all. It's called that ninja, because it would definitely kill you. It's nothing to play with. And it's one of them things a lot of people take for granted until it actually happens to them. And then you're one of those people, you want to go and try to educate people now that your body's deteriorating. Now that you're feeling the effects. Now you want to do blogging channels. Now you want to educate and make people aware of this disease. When you were out there, you didn't take proper precautions. And there's still so many prejudices with these STDs and these diseases. We still keep believing that this is something that's just for people are that participate in homosexual relationships, not understanding that disease is not just affecting those that have an alternative lifestyle. You can be straight and you can still catch that ninja just like anybody else. It doesn't have nothing to do with you black, you white, you old, you young. If you are being negligent and you are not taking the proper precautions to protect your body, you can't get the disease. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now let me school the ladies. The problem is with ladies is that a lot of women I hold them more accountable than I do the men, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because as women, there's no excuse for any woman to put herself in a position to get pregnant or to catch a disease, because if she's taking all the proper precautions, there's no way she can put herself in a situation. As a woman, as women, we have to guard our bodies. It's not too, you cannot expect a man, and I've said this in several channels, you cannot expect a man to protect you. You have to protect you. There is far too much birth control on the market. I've been on every birth control you could think of. I've had the Implanon, I've had what's that other one, Depo Provera, I had the IUD. I've had every birth control in the market. If you're not aware and you're thinking about trying a different birth control, and you want to know the difference in which each one has to offer, you're welcome to email me, because I know about every goddamn birth control on this planet, because I have had every single one. Okay, so if you're too embarrassed to go to the doctor and ask them, hit me up. I'll be glad to educate you. I will do that free of charge, no shipping and handling fees. As women, we have too much access to protect ourselves. Only thing men have is condoms, or abstinence. And let's face it, ain't too many of them gonna be abstinent. But we have way more options to protect ourselves. But that's not only the birth control. As a woman, if you are not ensuring that this man is using a condom before he enters your body, you are signing up to become a single mother, or you are signing up to catch a disease, a lifetime disease that you're going to be stuck with for the rest of your life. And the sad part is a lot of these women, they know better. They just take chances, and they so badly want to be in love, so badly want to be loved. Some cases, some women are very spiteful. They can know that the man is in a relationship with somebody else, or know that the man really doesn't want to be with them but don't mind sleeping with them, so they'll intentionally will allow themselves to get pregnant, but lie and tell a man they're on birth control, even though the man, he shouldn't be dumb enough to fall for that and use protection anyway. But sometimes women are very manipulative. Women have went so far as to poking holes in condoms. Women have went so far as to a man leave a condom in the wastebasket. She uses a turkey baster and injects the semen within herself. I mean, it's a lot of sisters out here doing some desperate things to try to trap a man. And when a man is hit with child support, he's discombobulated. He don't know what the hell happened. Bruh, you should have took that condom with you versus throwing it in that damn wastebasket in Hotel 6. It's all kind of tricks and deceit out there. A lot of women don't want to talk about this. We want to sit back and play innocent, like, oh, this man just left me to raise this child by myself. A lot of us, as a woman, if you have produced a child through false intent, through malicious means, 9 times out of 10 you will end up a single mother. If you and him did not sit down and discuss, this is what we both want. I don't care if he's using protection or not. If he didn't tell you, I want to be a father to your child, you taking a chance even more so going in the raw with them. But anyway, I know I'm digressing. Because that's supposed to come up later, but I guess that's just a little preparation. So STDs, again, we have to not pretend like STDs went out of style. AIDS is not played out, y'all. Okay, AIDS still exists. AIDS is still real. Please do not believe, because nobody's hardly talking about it, nobody's hardly making a big deal out of it, that it does not exist, because it does. Next, we talk about drama. Drama comes out of unprotected sex, meaning that some people, especially women, attach their feelings to their vagina. They do. Like I said, men and women deal with sex differently. We don't have sex for the same reasons, and we don't have sex for the same motives. A man could sleep with a woman and not love her, not even be attracted to her, not even like her, but he will sleep with her. Men, I don't get it. A matter of fact, I need y'all brothers to comment under this channel. Please tell me, why do y'all lay with half of these broads you don't like, you can't stand, she bipolar, she's a narcissist, she just came out the goddamn nut house, and you nut in this nut house, you nut in this nut. I don't get it. Please school your girl, because I'm not a man. I don't know how you men think. So tell me. Yeah. A man don't even have to be in love. He ain't got to be attracted to you. He can just like to screw you. And that's it. You know. Like I said, a man could be intimate with a woman and not have no emotional connection or anything. Now, women, on the other hand, there are some women who are just as ruthless as men out there. They can lay with these dudes and lay with that dude and, not pretty much feel anything. But I actually did this topic with a blogger, a couple of weeks back. One a blogger that I did a video with, Denini. Me and her actually talked about this, and we both agreed that women, it's not too many women that can have sex with a man without being emotionally attached. And the reason I state that is because if you look at the physical, you got to look at the physical and spiritual aspect of the whole situation, not just the fact that the penis is inserted in the vagina. That's just the physical part. You have to look at the spiritual and like I said, the spiritual connection and emotional connection. That's where it's different for a woman. In other words, the reason why it's difficult for a majority, and I discussed this also with Wake the Hell Up 7. The reason why it's hard for women to not sleep with a man and not get her feelings involved, even though she may lie and act like I can do what a man can do. A man can screw all kind of women and he be considered a hero. Guess what? I can do it too. The problem is, with a lot of ladies not understanding, is that when we have sex with a man, men don't leave something in us. I mean, we don't, men, what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, we don't leave something inside men. We leave something on men. Now, really dissect this, where I'm coming from. Men leave something inside of us. And what happens when people have sex, we build what's called soul ties. Now, this is not to say the man cannot build a soul tie as well, but the reason why women catch feelings, because it's by nature for us to catch feelings, because guess what? Being that we are the receivers, being that we're the ones that are left with something inside of us, and I'm not just talking semen wise. Not only is that man leaving his semen, he's leaving his spirit. Okay. And what happens when we receive, when most people look at the aspect of just receiving the semen, but not only are you receiving the semen, you're receiving his spirit, which in terms makes you receive feelings. So all that hype about I can sleep with a man and do what a man can do is bogus. It's bogus. And if you're telling yourself that, it's only because that's your defense mechanism. That's your way of trying to protect your ignorance and make yourself believe that I can sleep with as many men as I want and I can't feel anything. But it's by nature that women, we're nurturers by nature, meaning we nurture. We don't only nurture children. We don't only nurture having babies. We don't only nurture husbands. We nurture feelings. Now, like I stated, there are some cases in which a woman can mutually just agree to going to bed with a man and without no commitment. But 9 times out of 10, if she runs into this man and sees him in the street treating another woman like a queen, when the only time he meets her is when he wants to bang her back out at Hotel 6, it's going to make her feel some type of way. I don't care what a woman says. You're going to feel some type of way. Even though you know it was just a sex thing, but this same dude that's banging you out, you see him treat other women like a princess, it's going to make you feel some type of way. And that's just, I mean, and there's not too many women that's going to be truthful and co-sign on that. And I get it. It's a defense mechanism. And then it's also, it also takes that heat off of us of not feeling like whores. As long as I don't admit that I'm catching feelings, then a man can't say I'm a whore. He can't look at me as a hoe. He got to look at me like, and the same like he looks at a man like, I just love sex. I heard a dude say that one time. I heard a dude try to play me one time, and this was years ago. Me and him just having a general conversation, and then we got on the topic about talking about women. If a woman is a whore, or if she's not a whore, and his thing was, just because a woman likes as much sex as a man, that doesn't make her a whore. That's what he said. He said, and I was appalled by that because I've never heard a black man say that out of his mouth. Yeah, a woman can sleep with as many dudes as she want to sleep with, and she's not a whore. She just loves sex like a man does. When I asked him, I said, okay, if that's the case, would you marry that woman? If that's how you feel, you meet a woman who says, okay, I'm ready to marry and settle down, but I've been with a lot of men, not because I'm a whore, but because I love sex. Would you marry her knowing that? All I heard was crickets. I'm like, dude, stop playing. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Like, be for real. But anyway, I'm digressing. Let me get back to this drama part. Like I said, because there's no respect for sex, there's a lot of drama and chaos that's involved. Drama meaning that, sex will bring problems that people are not prepared to deal with. Some people can become obsessive and possessive. You have some men that can become obsessive with a woman who he's casually having sex with in some cases. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. But the problem is it happens more frequently with women compared to men. When a woman when a woman keeps sleeping and going to bed with a man, she eventually keeps depositing feelings. She deposits emotions. She starts catching feelings, even though she may lie to her girlfriends and say, oh, I ain't feeling him like that, girl. We just cut buddies. She may lie to herself like, okay, so what, he got a wife, so what, so whatever. But eventually she gonna feel some type of way, especially if she's been messing with him for a long time. Mentally, she may try to lie to herself and convince herself it's just sex. I don't want him like that. I'm not trying to be with him like that. But it's going to make her feel some type of way. How you figure the moment she finds out that he's messing with somebody outside of his wife other than her. And it's crazy that you got some women that are like that. They don't mind that you have a wife, but they better be your only side chick. I've heard plenty of stories where women who lost it and killed a man, killed somebody's husband, because she was all right with the fact that he was married, but she didn't like the fact that he had another side chick on the outside of her. And I can never understand this with these women. Some of these women, again, if it does not apply, you don't have to reply. Let it fly. I'm not talking about all black women. I'm talking about some of these ignorant, low self-esteem black women. And then you have women of other races too who do the same dumbass stuff. Latino white women, but the majority of it is in our community. The thing about it is, how as women, you don't want a man who stays with his mama, but You don't mind a man who lives with his wife. You want to write a man off, oh, you live with your mother? Oh, no, I ain't trying to talk to you. But you find out he got a wife, especially if he making money, you find a way to overlook it. And it's sad, but you got more women that are more interested in married men than they are single men. They want a man that's already established and well off, because some single men are still struggling trying to find themselves. And then some single men enjoy their life of being a bachelor. They do not want to settle down and lock in with a woman. So you have some men who are single and successful and doing well, but these are the brothers who ain't trying to be committed like that. So what happens is it limits women's choices to where they either got to pick up a bum ass dude, or they got to get somebody else's guy, like somebody else's guy, like Jocelyn Brown was saying, so what happens is, women have to take what they can get, when your options are limited, especially if you've been the kind of woman you've been out there, and you put yourself in a predicament where you really can't be choosy, you can't be particular, you can't be selective. You got to get whatever wants you. Then, you kind of, limited in decisions. It brings drama because, like I said, some of these women out here are messing with married men. Some of these married men are messing with these women, knowing they are married. If you don't respect your marriage, these thoughts are not going to respect it. It's as simple as that. And once you lay up with these women, that gives them the key to feel like they can intrude and they can intrude upon you anytime they want and create chaos and problems, because a lot of these women, their psyche is, if you was really happy where you were, you would have not messed with me. If you was really happy with your wife, you would not have been seeing me, taking me to bed. So somewhere you're not happy, when in actuality, you're not being honest with this woman. It's not that you're not happy at home. It's not that you're not satisfied, because if you weren't happy at home, if you're not satisfied, why you won't leave your wife? Why you won't divorce your wife? No, what it boils down to is you want to have your cake and eat it too. It's basically greed. So all the side chicks, do not fall for the myth of he's not getting what he needs at home. He's not satisfied, because if that's the case, ask yourself one question, appetizers. Why did not he leave? Why is he not leaving? Don't fall for the, oh, I plan on leaving within 2-3 years when my children graduate from college. Let me tell you something. You're going to keep waiting. It's going to be the same lie over and over and over. It's been women who dealt with married men, and married men would tell these side chicks, oh, I don't even sleep with my wife. I sleep on the sofa. Me and her don't even connect like that. Man, he does everything with that wife. He's still sleeping with that wife. He's still taking out to dinner. They still going on cruises. They still going out of town. He's still romancing her. He lying to you and telling you it ain't nothing like that, because he wants you to be comfortable and he wants you to keep holding on to hope. Like, eventually, your moment is going to come, and it's never going to come. And there's so many women, side chicks, who are getting pimped out there, and then some of them, they get so desperate to the point where they end up getting pregnant from these guys. But we're going to save that from a whole nother series, because like I told y'all, I'm going to do 3 parts of this. So y'all are going to have to get ready, because I don't want to do an hour or so, because I feel like the longer the video, eventually you lose somebody attention span. So I'm gonna break this up into 3 different series, okay? So I said you got to be careful with the drama. It's people who are in jail, who are in prison, messing with people's emotions, sleeping with this one person, deceiving that person. It's a lot of drama. And unplanned pregnancies, as I stated before. Women are on a whole new trend now. When they feel like they can't get what they want out the man, and they feel like the man isn't moving fast enough, he isn't leaving his wife fast enough, or he isn't trying to commit to her fast enough, even if he's not married. She will make him feel comfortable to the point to where he will get so comfortable he won't use any protection, and she'll set him up to get pregnant. She'll manipulate him and make him seem like, make it seem like she's on birth control, or make it seem like, okay, we don't have to use no protection because I don't want any children, especially if y'all been kicking it for a long time. Now if you just met this chick off a back page and you're doing something else like that, but you and this person had a relationship, and this is something y'all both agreed to, and she deceives you and sneaks and goes behind your back and sneaks and get off of birth control, and wham, she ends up pregnant and all this and that. Now that's a whole nother thing, because you lied, you deceived him, so women, when we do things like this, we end up being the ones carrying the bag by ourselves. When we lie to these men and make them think that we are taking the proper precautions to not get pregnant, or as women, we allow ourselves to be in positions where we get gullible in the middle of the act, a man may whisper sweet nothings in your ear, and I want you to have my baby, and all this and that. You get caught up in the heat of the moment, and you get pregnant, and then the reality sinks in. He wants nothing to do with your child. He wants nothing to do with you and the baby. I mean, all of that was just heat in the moment talk. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, again, this derives for not having respect for sex. Because when you just lay up with people who you don't love, who you don't have a companion with, you put yourself in a position to be vulnerable, where you will lie and tell them things you don't mean, and you put them in a vulnerable position where they will believe the lies that you tell them. So go both ways. But moving on, those are the three things we have to realize. Unprotected sex leads to STDs, drama, and unplanned pregnancies. Now, the next thing is no one has any respect for sex, which is why society has all of the problems it has now. Sex was a gift from God for married people to produce children through a holy matrimony union and build a legacy for the foundation of the family. Oh, let me sip on this, y'all, because I know this part is going to offend a lot of people, because I'm about to go biblical. I'm about to go to church. That's right. Pastor Lady Mocha is getting ready to go to church. Yes. Let me go ahead and sip on this. Now, let me tell y'all something. The word is never going to change. I don't care how much we try to flip the scripture. We try to make the word fit the way we want it to fit and how we want it to fit us. The problem is when it comes to the Bible and it comes to the word and it comes to God's way of how he has orchestrated us to live a certain way according to his word. Too many people are trying to make the scripture fit their lies, fit their deceit, and fit their sinful lifestyle. Okay, we want the scripture to accommodate our wrongdoing, and the whole bottom line is the word is never going to change. Won't all these new philosophies that the world is giving you, that it's okay for a man and a woman to have sex, they ain't got to be married, they don't have to be committed to each other, or to read that same ignorant lack of spiritual awareness that we don't apply is the reason we have the problems we have. This is the reason why men have children from women they don't love, don't care about, and vice versa. Women have children from men they don't love or really care about. It just changes all of the dynamics. Sin has changed a lot of dynamics, ladies and gentlemen, and we want to keep overlooking it. We want the word to fit our world. Oh, that's a good one. I'm preaching to myself now. We want the words to suit and fit our world. I know the Lord is speaking to me now, y'all. We want it to suit us. We want the Bible to be a one size fits all, and it don't work that way. It does not work that way. Now let's break this down a little bit more biblically. Sex was a gift from God for married people. All these new world philosophies where it's okay for you to test your car before you drive it and vice versa. And I'm not trying to persuade anybody to do anything. I mean, do you? Do you? If you're comfortable with testing out, the goodies before you commit to it, then that's your thing. That's between you and the Lord. And whatever consequences come after that, you got to endure it, sweetie. You got to endure that. But that's what God, that's really what sex is designed for: married people to produce children in a family. This baby mama crap, that word baby mama, baby daddy, that's not even supposed to exist. Where are those words in the Bible? If somebody could point it out and show me where it says baby mama, baby daddy. If somebody could show me that, then I would change my whole perspective. I see nothing in the Bible with those words. I see the word wife and husband more than anything throughout every chapter, throughout every scripture. And this part really stings a lot of women because it's painful, it's hurtful. Because there's a lot of women out there who have not orchestrated their lives in God's order. A lot of women have, and men have, fornicated and committed adultery, and this is the reason why we have all the problems that we have. I'll get into that a little further though. I'll take that. I'll bring that up as I get to the end of this content. If not, then I'll save it for part two. But I'll talk about the fornicating and adultery. I'm gonna bring that up later because I want to keep this in order. But just keep in mind, sex is designed for a husband and wife to build a family, a foundation for the family, a legacy. That's what sex is designed for. Okay? Anybody want to argue that? Then take it up with the Lord. Because that's what his word says. I'm not making this up for y'all. And I'm not going to say what makes you feel good with your wrongdoing. A lot of times we want people to make us feel good about our wrongdoing. We want people to condone it. We want people to praise us and say, it's not that bad. It's okay to be a baby mama. It's okay to be a single mom. It's okay to be a single dad. It's okay to be a man that goes around and produce all of these children and never marry none of these women and don't commit none of these women. We want people to pamper our wrongdoings. We want people to lie to us, and we want people to not make us feel too bad about our poor choices. It's not going to happen on this channel, y'all. I'm going to tell y'all that now. But we're going to move on. Let's see. It's bad enough that people are taking chances of spreading AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases, but it also leads to unplanned pregnancies, which result in what I will call today's recipe the side baby or side chick. It's a lot of side babies out there, y'all. We have a lot of them. It's a lot of side babies. It's a lot of babies that have been produced outside of marriages that were not designed for that was not God's plan. It was it was sin's plan. And I know, like I said, the truth hurts. The truth is very painful. I know a lot of women are not going to like this, but every child is not a blessing. It's not. Now I will say this. It is a blessing if a child gets here with no problems, with no malfunctions, with no what they call it, deformities. That's a blessing within itself to have a healthy child. But the bottom line is when you do things out of order from God and you conceive children, knowing this man was married, knowing this woman was married, is no different than the Bible story of Sarah and Hagar. If you reflect back to that story and you read about that story with Sarah and Hagar, when Sarah basically gave Hagar permission to sleep with her husband. Now, that was the dumbest part because Sarah couldn't have any children. So she gave Hagar permission to sleep with Abraham because she wasn't patient enough to wait on God to bless her with a child from her husband. And sometimes as women, we become so desperate that we will step out of God's order and make things happen because this is what we want. And same thing with you men. When you step out of God's order, this is what I want, this is what I want to do. We let our desires become more important than God's will. Then guess what? We open our door to the enemy, ladies and gentlemen. It's as simple as that. As I stated, Sarah gave Abraham permission and instead of waiting on God. And what happened was Hagar agreed to sleep with Abraham, and what man wouldn't agree to that? I don't know what Sarah was thinking, honey. That sounds like a Jerry Springer episode to me. Anywho, and what happened was Ishmael was conceived. And what happened was, Hagar really started smelling herself. She got the big head instead of her giving Ishmael to Sarah and Abraham, as the original plan was. She started smelling herself, and I could only imagine during that time, the bigger and bigger her stomach got, she probably was walking around there flaunting it in Sarah's face, and Abraham was probably touching her belly. You know how malicious women can get. And when the baby got here, being that Hagar did not have a husband, she envied Sarah in one way and Sarah envied Hagar in another way. Hagar envied Sarah, even though Sarah couldn't have a child at that time, but she had Abraham as her husband. And Sarah, even though she had Abraham as her husband, she envied the fact that she could not conceive a child from him. So it ended up creating a whole lot of mess. When you don't wait on God and you try to intervene and you try to move and jigsaw the puzzles to your life to where how you want it, you create more chaos. And that's exactly what happened. So Hagar really started getting funky. And it upset Sarah. So Sarah confronted Abraham like, this chick is, I told her to sleep with you so she can create this child for us. But now she's acting biggity like, this is you and her child. And of course, Abraham backed off at that point and said, shoot, this your problem. I ain't about to deal with this. Now, why he didn't say that in the beginning? Isn't that a typical man, y'all? He didn't turn down to go into bed with her part. But now that the child is brought here and Sarah is having problems with how Hagar's handling her, now he said, I ain't got nothing to do with this. Y'all handle this. Really? So but what happened was, Abraham got frustrated. He didn't know what to do. His wife was pissed off. Hagar, Ishmael, his son's mother, was pissed off. And guess what? God ain't played that mess. God said, you know what? Whatever Sarah says, that's what's going to go. Do what your wife says. Your wife has to say so. You know why? Because she was the wife before Hagar was the side chick. And that's what a lot of the side chicks are not understanding. Marriage is a very sacred thing. While you're looking at it as, that's just her husband. That's just her husband. And I can still sleep with him. Ain't nothing to it. That's just her husband. The bottom line is, it's not just the fact that you are intervening with another woman's husband. You are intervening in God's covenant. Meaning that is a marriage that has been instituted under the will of God. And for that, you are going to reap the benefits, meaning your child is not going to get all of the benefits that he or she would have had that been your husband versus you screwing someone else's husband. So therefore, you're going to get cheated. Your child is not going to get all of what he wants. And that's what happens. Abraham, it broke his heart, but he told Hagar, you got to go and take Ishmael with you. Now, a big part I left out the story. I apologize about this. God did bless Sarah with her own son, Isaac. In the midst of Hagar shining and acting up, God blessed her with her own son. And if you really look at that scripture, God kept referring to Isaac as their only son. If you really read that scripture, he doesn't really acknowledge Ishmael as the son. You know why? Because that was not God's plan. That was sin's plan. God don't acknowledge sin. In anything that the devil has instituted, God is not going to acknowledge it like that. He's not going to bless it. God don't bless no mess. So that's what happened. When Sarah conceived Isaac, what happened was, if I'm not mistaken, Hagar started mocking Isaac. Probably throwing shade like, you know how women do, y'all. Oh yeah, she thinks Charlotte because she finally got pregnant. Girl, she's slow, honey. I've been had her husband child. What is she doing? Sarah said, heck nah. Sarah told Abraham, you better rid that slave woman. That's what she called Hagar, a slave woman. Rid that slave woman. And a lot of y'all side chicks, that's what y'all are. Y'all slave women. Meaning, y'all do anything these married men want y'all to do, and you really don't get nothing out of it. Like most slaves back in the plantation days. Slaves did everything the master said do, but they didn't get anything out of it. A lot of you side chicks are slaves. That's going to be my new word for you. You're a slave chick, not a side chick, because you doing all of this stuff and you're not benefiting. You're not really getting all of what you want out of it. But that's what happened. And Abraham freaked out. He didn't know what to do because he didn't want to lose Ishmael. He had Isaac, but he didn't want to lose Ishmael. He had to build a bond with him. But God told him, rid her. If that's what your wife said, you know why God didn't have a problem with him telling Hagar to leave? Because God knew the problems that it was going to cause in the long run had he continued to stay. Had Ishmael continued to stay there, because Hagar was going to keep getting out of pocket like most side chicks do. So he had to flee. She had to flee the scene. And God and Hagar went to God, and she had audacity to get upset once Sarah said, you got to go. And Abraham backed his wife up. You damn straight. That's his wife. So she got upset, and guess what? God still had grace on her and said, I will make your son the king of many nations. God still blessed this illegitimate child that was not his plan. But guess what? He didn't get blessed the same way Isaac got blessed. And what happened was, from Ishmael's generation all the way on down, all of his children stayed in wars. They stayed having conflict. All the generations of Ishmael's family, they stayed in war. That was the price, that was the debt of karma that needed to be paid for them conceiving that child in the first place that was not meant to be. But I'm going to hold it off right here because we're going into 42 minutes. I'm going to give y'all some time to let this content marinate and registrate in your brain pores. I'm going to give y'all time to reflect on this message. And what I will be doing is I will upload part 2. Part 2, we're going to discuss, let me see, make sure I got my notes. We're going to talk more into this side babies, these side appetizers, these babies that are conceived outside of marriages during a holy matrimony that was designed before God. A lot of people don't want to talk about this content because it's a very sensitive situation. It's very touchy. A lot of women get offended when you call a child a side baby, because a lot of women, like you're a mother. You don't want nobody making a mockery out your child, give your child a label or name, but this is what the word says. If you had this child knowing this man, whether if he lied to you, and he probably did lie to you, and guess what? He's going to pay for it too. If he wasn't honest with you, he's going to pay for it. But guess what? Just because you didn't know, it does not mean you're not going to pay the price. It's no different than if you're speeding down a highway and the speed limit sign was 35 and you didn't see it because it was a bush over the sign. Okay, that police pulls you over and says you were doing 70. You're going to say, I did not know. I didn't see that sign. Well, I know you didn't know, but the sign is here. I'm going to stop and write you the citation. Guess what? Even when we don't know, ladies and gentlemen, we still got to pay the piper. We still got to pay the price for the decisions we make when we step outside of Christ. Yes, I gave y'all some knowledge for free. I know y'all are going to be fed and full once I get done with this content. I still got 2 more parts. This is going to be a series, y'all. No respect for sex is going to be the name of this recipe, this topic. So hit that notification bell. If you like tonight's content, you want to hit that notification bell, because when I upload my next 2 series, I'm going to go deeper into this situation about no respect for sex. If you have any questions that you want me to go into, or any other things that you would like me to discuss relating to this content, put it in the comments tonight. That way, when I do my next series, I can answer y'all questions, okay? That's what it's all about. That's what I'm here for. I am your diva in knowledge. My duty is to feed you with spiritual awareness, okay? So on that note, y'all, it has been real. It has been wonderful. Thank y'all for liking, sharing, subscribing. I appreciate my subscribers for having my back, always looking out for your girl, supporting me, giving me positive feedback, positive energy, and definitely keep emailing me. I know I'm slow at getting back to y'all, but trust and believe, I always try to make good of it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. It is your girl, Lady Mocha. Remember, I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth and break you off with a slice of knowledge and spiritual awareness. Remember, this is your most non-biased channel on YouTube. It's been real, y'all. I will holler at y'all soon. Take care. I'm out. Bye.